and thank you for tuning in for the 6.1 through 6.4 mid-chapter quiz review. This quiz review is going to be extremely helpful for you. I'm going to go through each and every type of problem that you're going to see on the quiz. So if you know how to do the quiz review without any help, then you know how to do the quiz, and you should be great. What I'm going to ask of you is for you to use a piece of lined paper to work through every problem. So this paper will be collected, so it's important that you write down everything that you see here. Most of the problems are just math problems. At the end, there are maybe 6 type of small word problems. You do need to write the words for those as well. Let's go ahead and get started. Number 1 says, write each product using an exponent. So I would like you at the top of your paper, after you write 6.1 through 6.4 chapter quiz review, I would like you to go ahead and write the instructions, write each product using an exponent. Then the problem you see here in green, 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. This whole chapter quiz is going to be very important that you read the directions and that you know what those directions are asking you for. Because, for instance, if you spend a bunch of time on this problem working it out, finding the value, you've wasted a lot of time because it's not asking you for the value. It is asking you to write each write each product using an exponent. So for these types of problems, I'm going to draw my answer line right here. You're going to look at what the base is. So in this problem, the base is 6. So we're going to go ahead and say 6. And then you need to look how many 6s you have. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the answer for this problem is going to be 6 to the 4th power. And it's that simple. That's it. Don't work it out. Don't find the value. Okay, I'm going to make a little note here about that. And again, if I make a note, you make a note. So be sure to pause the video and make sure you have everything here. The next set of problems that you're going to see, and there will be 2 problems like the ones on this screen right here. So this particular problem, there will be 2 like it. This problem, there will also be 2. Write each power as a product of the same factor, then find the value. So there are 2 steps to this problem. So on the quiz, there will be 2 answer lines. Notice I've underlined 1 step in green and 1 step in blue. So the problem here is in yellow. So in yellow, we've got 3/4. Scratch that completely. We've got 3 to the 4th power. Sorry about that. So the first thing that you need to do is write each power as a product of the same factor. So we'll have 2 answer lines. So this will be 1 answer line. This will be the second answer line. So writing each product as a power of the same factor means I'm going to write my base, which is 3, times 3 times 3 times 3. And I'm going to write it 4 times because of this 4 right here. Okay? So 3 is my base. That's the number I write. And 4 is how many times I write it. So that's the first part of that answer. Then the second part where it says, then find the value, is where you're going to do the work. So the first thing I'm going to do is 3 times 3, which is 9. Then 9 times 3, which is 27. So I've taken care of 1, 2, 3 of my 3s. I have 1 more 3 to take care of. So it's 27 times 3. 7 times 3 is 21. 3 times 2 is 6, 7, 8. So my final answer over here for the second answer is going to be 81. So you will have 2 problems that are like this. So again, this is very important that you read the directions and that you understand what the directions mean, because it's asking you for 2 separate answers, one of which you write the extended form, which is writing write each power as a product of the same factor, and then the other one is where you're finding the value. Find the value of each expression. Excuse me. So basically, I'm going to make a little note here right away that these are basically order of operations problems. So you need to make sure that you understand that these are going to require you to follow the order of operations from beginning to end. So you can also see my note down here, and I would like you to write the same note on your paper. So let's go ahead and get started. So just like in class, you should put a block around these. You will have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these problems. So you have 4 types of these problems. So I'm going to say, okay, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Please excuse my dear, and actually I should write it like this. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And remember, I put multiplication and division on the same line because one does not take precedence over the other. Excuse me, if you have multiplication and division only left, then you process them from left to right like you read. So I see that I have no parentheses, so parentheses are taken care of. E is the exponent, so I'm going to put a box around that one. and then I'm going to go ahead and process that one. So when I process that one, I get 4 times 4 is 16. So I'm going to write the 16 there. And I'm going to keep everything else the same. 36 divided by 3 times 16. Now I can see that I only have multiplication and division left. So since I only have multiplication and division left, I'm going to work from left to right. It's very important. There's a problem almost just like this on your quiz. 36 divided by 3 gives me 12, and then I'm left with times 16. And then my final step is to do the 12 times 16. So off to the side, I'm going to do 12 times 16. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 1 is 7. 2 and 1. So we've got 192. So we get a final answer here of 192. And that's the answer that you would put on the line. And just a reminder, make sure that you write everything that you see on this screen. All right, here is another example of the type of problem that you will see on your quiz. This again is still under the same directions as before. You're going to follow the order of operations. So for this problem, the parentheses is going to be processed first. So we're going to go ahead and put a box around the parentheses. But within the parentheses, remember, we follow the order of operations as well. So we're going to put another box around the 4 squared. So we're going to keep the parentheses here because all we're processing is the 4 squared. The 4 squared becomes 16 minus 4, and we copy everything else around it. So 2 times, and minus 2 goes at the end. Now the next one, we're still going to put a box around the parentheses because we haven't completely gotten rid of everything there yet. 16 minus 4 is 12, and then we're going to copy everything else around it. 2 times and minus 2. Now you can tell that we have multiplication and subtraction left. So in our Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, it says that we must have the multiplication and division taken care of first. So 2 times 12 in this example is 24 minus 2. And then our final answer, 24 minus 2, is 22. So this is how you would work through this problem. I will expect to see the boxes so that I can see which step you processed in each piece of it. 2 plus 4 times 3 plus 6. So the first thing that we're going to want to do here is this parentheses, because that's the first thing in our Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally is that P. In this parentheses, notice we just process the things that are in the parentheses. There isn't a square in here, so we're going to do 6 plus 3, and that gives us 9. So notice we don't have those parentheses anymore. So now we're going to copy everything else. 2 plus 4 times 9. Okay, and now in this next step, we've got addition and we've got multiplication. And according to the order of operations, we have to process this 4 times 9 first. So we're going to get 4 times 9 is 36, and we're going to copy that 2 plus. And then our very last step is to add 2 plus 36, which gives us 38. All right, so this ends our order of operations review piece right here. We've gone over each type of problem that you will possibly see on the quiz. All right, so now we're going to move on to the next type of problem. For the evaluate each expression using the information they give you here, you will have 4 of these problems on your quiz. So I've just given you an example here, and this should cover most of what you're going to see on the quiz. So it says evaluate each expression if A equals 3, B equals 2, and C equals 5. So I'm going to put a box around these values here because these are going to be the values that you plug in. Now, when I see this, I'm going to expect you to write the original problem. So right here, we're going to write A plus B. Then I'm going to expect to see that you have substituted the information in. So A, we can see is 3 right here. So 3 plus, and B is 2. And then the next line, you can go ahead and solve. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So my final answer here would be 5. The next problem, again, we're going to write C squared minus 2B. That's my original problem. I'm going to substitute. So C we've got here is 5, so it'll be 5 squared minus 2 times, and then what do we have for B? 2. And then we're going to evaluate. 5 times 5 is 25 minus 4. And then our final answer is going to be 21, and we're going to put a box around it. So for each one of these problems, really, you're just solving the problem like you did before in the last one where it says find the value of each expression, but you have to substitute into the original expression. So now the last one we have is 6AB. Remembering, it's okay, remembering that whenever you have a letter and a number next to each other, that always means to multiply when there's nothing else in between. So 6 times A is 3 times B is 2. So 6 times 3 is 18 times 2, and then, oops, let me change the colors again. 6 times 3 is 18 times 2, and then 18 times 2 is 36. So these are the types of problems you will see for the evaluate each expression section. All right, the next section of your quiz, and yes, you need to write the directions and you need to write the algebraic expression that's here. So the next section says, write each phrase as an algebraic expression. I've even written a note on the quiz itself that says do not solve, because all you're doing right now is you're changing these words into an expression. So let's look at a few examples. It says the product of 6 and a number. So the important information here that you hear, or that you see rather, is the word product. That means multiply. 6 is 1, and then a number is the one that you're going to have to make a variable for. So since it's a product and since 6 is the number, that means we're going to have 6, whoops, sorry about that, we're going to have 6, and then n being our number. Remember, you should not have a multiplication sign here. In algebra, you're just going to see the letter and the number next to each other with no spaces or operations in between. So 6n means multiplication, so that covers the product. 6 is our number, and n is the number of the variable. So the next one says 2 less than. So right away I notice 2 less than. Okay, less than, more than, greater than, fewer than. Remember, that's really important. That means we switch the order. So even though we read 2 first, we're going to put -2 at the end of our problem. It's really, really important that we do that because it's less than, more than, greater than, fewer than. So you want to make sure that you switch the order. So it's 2 less than. What is it 2 less than? Oh, it's 2 less than 7 times a number. So now we need to show the 7 times a number here. So 7 times, that's a key word, and then number. So that means 7, oops, let me change back to white again. That means 7n. So it's very similar to what we did in the problem just above it, where we said 6 and a number. So basically what this is 7n minus 2, because you have 2 less than, that's this right here, 7 times a number, that's this right here. So you will see problems exactly like this, just with different numbers on it. So you want to make sure you know how to do that order. Because if you give me 2 minus 7n, it's going to be completely marked wrong. So please do not give me that answer. All right. All right, for this next example, we've got the difference. So that word difference, we need to put a box around because that means to subtract. So that's an important thing. The difference between a number and 7. So this one's actually pretty easy. It's just n minus 7. And it's the number, that's the n right here. 7 goes on this side right here. And then difference means we subtract. The next problem says 4 less than, there's that 4, but more importantly, there's that less than. What did that less than say to do? It says to switch the order. So even though we read 4 first, it needs to be -4 at the end. Because if you're saying it's 4 less than something, you have to tell me what that something is first. So 4 less than a number divided by 2. So let's look at the rest of that the keywords here. A number divided by 2. So that means we've got n divided by 2. So that's how you want to show division when you're looking at algebra. So I should not see n divided by 2 minus 4. That is not acceptable. I do not want to see it that way. So whenever you show division in algebra, I do want to see it like that, n divided by 2. All right, so those four examples show you the type of problems that you're going to see in the expression section. I have listed 2 examples in the expression section. And just a little side note here that you don't want to forget, because I didn't have a problem that had sum in it. Sum means to add. So you don't want to forget that sum means to add. Let's go ahead and... All right. All right, on this next slide, you do want to copy the word problem. It says, a plumber charges an hourly rate and a $50 service fee for plumbing services. Define a variable. So I'm going to first start by underlining one of the things that I have to do. So I have to define a variable and write an expression to represent the total bill. So, and I need to write an expression. So notice it did not ask us to find the total bill. Well, it didn't ask us to find the total bill because really it didn't give us enough information to find the total bill. In order to find the total bill, we would have to know what that hourly rate was, right? So for this problem, and there is a problem, there's one problem that's almost identical to this problem. So for this problem, you need to get your mind around the fact that we don't have all the information, and that's okay. So let's go back in the problem and see what we do have. The first thing we're going to look at is that it needs us to define a variable. So we need to look around and see what part we don't have. So it says a plumber charges an hourly rate. Okay, so I'm going to put a box around these words, hourly rate right here, and a $50 service fee. Okay, $50 service fee. So right away, we know that that service fee is a flat rate that they need to pay. So that's going to be our plus 50 immediately. Any flat fees, flat rates, service fees, anything that they only pay once that doesn't have anything to do with like the number of tickets they buy, the number of hours they work, anything that doesn't change based on the variable is by itself. It's a flat fee. So that's the plus 50 there. Excuse me. And actually, let me go ahead and do that in white so it shows up, plus 50. And that's from this $50 right here, right there. And a $50 service fee for plumbing services. Okay, so what do we not know? Well, we don't know the hourly rate, right? So let's go ahead and define that as our variable. So H is going to be defined as the hourly rate. Now, it's very important here that on your quiz, you define this variable very specifically. And for instance, it might even be better if we actually say H is going to be the cost for 1 hour. That's the important part, because if you just said H is the number of hours, that's not true. We need to know that it's the cost for 1 hour. 1 hour. So if this were, bus tickets, it would be the cost for one bus ticket and so on. So this is the first part of your answer. There will be one line for this. And then your second answer, I'm going to go ahead and erase this because I wrote it a little large. The second part of your answer is going to have that plus 50 at the end. Now we're going to use that H that we did. Okay. So thou shalt not create quiz reviews super late at night because I made an error. So if you notice, I erased everything at the bottom because I left a piece of the puzzle out here. So go ahead and recopy the problem here. You just want to add to the bottom, represent the total bill for 4 hours of work. And it's actually going to change our entire expression here. Okay, so here's what I need you to do. I went back and I took everything out. And so this problem probably looks kind of weird to you. So up until this point, everything about the plumber problem, just forget about. So the way that the plumber problem should be worded is a plumber charges an hourly rate and a $50 service fee for plumbing services. Define a variable and write it. So first we're defining a variable and write an expression. So we're going to write an expression to represent the total bill for 3 hours of work. Okay. So now we need to define the variable. So forget what I just said about defining the variable because we actually do know the number of hours. When we say we need to define a variable, we're going to define it as C, and that's the cost of 1 hour. Okay? The cost of 1 hour. Then from there, let's go ahead and think about what we have. So we have our flat fee, which was the $50. Remember, I said that's always going to be at the end because it doesn't change no matter how many hours. Then it says that the plumber worked 3 hours. So we're going to have 3 times C, which is the cost for each hour, plus 50. So that is going to be the expression to represent the problem for 3 hours. So that's how you're going to do that one. I'll go over this one in class as well, since it was a little confusing on the example. And our last example here says, Jenny purchased 3 boxes of popcorn for $1.25 each and 2 drinks for $1 each. So it says write an expression for the total cost. So first we're going to write an expression for the total cost of the food. Okay, so this means we have all the information. And then it says find the total cost. So this is also going to be a 2-part problem. So let's go ahead and pull some information out here. So it says Jenny purchased 3 boxes of popcorn. So we're going to write a 3 here because that's the number that she purchased, times $1.25 because that's the cost. We're going to add that to the 2 drinks that she bought that were $1 each. So you want to make sure that you know how to do this part because this is the expression, okay? And then from there, we are going to do the math. So this is our first answer. So I'm going to put a box around it because this is the first line that we would put. Then the next one, we're going to actually do the multiplication. So $1.25 times 3, 15, 6, 7, 3. So it'll be $3.75 here. Notice I did not work underneath the problem because I wanted to have a clean space here. 2 times $1 gives me $2. And my last step here is I'm just going to go ahead and add those together. $3.75 plus $2 is going to be $5.75. And that will be my second final answer with the dollar sign. And that decimal there too. So there will be one problem that's almost identical to this problem, one problem that's almost identical to the plumber problem on the back page, on the previous page. Good luck, study hard, be successful. I know that you can do it. The quiz is going to have 16 questions on it. They will all be open response, so there will not be any multiple choice problems on it. But you have seen a quick peek at everything that you will see on the quiz. I look forward to seeing you during our next class period.